Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Hello and welcome to the Corona Cinema podcast with me, your host Liam Waite, and joined this week by Matty.
Hello.
And his good pal Ross.
Howdy.
Those are the two guests. No Mason because stuff. But yeah. What were we talking about? We were talking about King Richard before this. I feel we should carry on that conversation because that was interesting. May had a good theory. But what's going to be the ending to that story? Mate, you had a theory there. What were you talking about?
Well, because they always manage to produce a true story film and then completely change the truth in it to something that's strangely more cinematic but yet still boring. So I don't know what they're going to do, but somehow they're going to change it to make it not accurate and not interesting. So we'll have to see with that.
As long as you put based on a true story, it's fine. Do whatever you want. Ross, you excited for King Richard? I don't know why, because I don't watch that many trailers and I haven't been going to cinema as much. When I do go and I see a trailer for something like that, catches my eye. The Will Smith performance, very weird. I don't know what their dad is like. Venus and Serena's dad seems like quite an eccentric guy. So like that trailer really caught my eye the other day. But you excited for King Richard?
Not really.
That's good. No, cheers.
I've seen the trailer. I've seen it in cinema, but apart from that, I haven't really thought about it. I don't know. I'll watch it just because why not? But I haven't really been thinking about it, which means I'm probably not that excited for it.
I just really want Will Smith. I just want Will Smith to make a good film. You can go through Will Smith's IMDb, which I'm going to do right now, and you could credibly say that he hasn't made a good film in like 15 years. Like, there might be some you're like, oh yeah, I kind of like that. This is kind of good. But if you could make an argument that he hasn't made a good film since, like, I don't know, Pursuit of Happiness or something.
Is there any way back from After Earth anyway?
I haven't watched that and have no intention to because it was one of them ones where you just know what you're getting into if you try to watch that.
There's no point in trying.
After Earth isn't bad. What do you mean?
You like After Earth?
It's not bad. It's awful.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's a solid, like, okay film for like a Sunday afternoon.
You always love a Sunday afternoon. That's always Matty's like
to sleep too.
That's Matty's barometer. It's like, it's good for a Sunday afternoon.
All right, let me explain my definition because I say it a lot and I haven't defined it. A Sunday afternoon film is something that is on a Sunday afternoon on ITV.
Wait, what? Wait, whoa.
Whoa. I know that sounds controversial, but it's not on a Saturday. It's on a Sunday afternoon. You sat not really doing anything.
You just say it's Saturday.
It's not a Saturday. It's a Sunday. It's a
Do you know Will Smith's real name is Willard?
Stay focused, Ross.
Sorry.
So basically,
speaking of Focus is the film I actually like by him. 2015. I like Focus. Yeah, carry on, mate.
And it's a film. It's just like you miss the first 20 minutes. But you're like, fuck it, I'll watch this. And it's like that's kind of interesting, but not so interesting. You even mind adverts every 20 minutes, and you can miss bits. And it's always a film that you've seen like 5 times, but you've never seen the beginning or the end. That's the Sunday afternoon film, and it fills the time, and it distracts you from like Monday, basically the impending doom of Monday and the Sunday afternoon depression before starting the working week. That's what Sunday afternoon film is, and that's what After Earth is.
You know when they, when they show films on ITV2 or ITV4, and sometimes they do that film. They put like a little like news bulletin in between, like entertainment news or something. So they break up the program. It's like 5 minutes, but so when you look, it looks like Shawshank Redemption just started, and then you put it on, and it's like halfway through the film because you thought it just started, but it's just because they had the little news thing after the first showing of it. That's another. I think that's another hallmark of like a Sunday afternoon thing. It's very ITV4, ITV2. So yeah, that's good definition, mate. But still, I need Will Smith to just do something good, something Oscar worthy.
Have you seen Bad Boys for Life?
No, I haven't. May have seen that. Bad Boys for Life. You've seen that? The biggest film of 2020. Not even joking. It's the biggest film of 2020.
It's also my biggest regret of 2020. But yeah, basically, I saw that in cinema. For some reason, that's the first film I had seen in ages, and I don't know why. As peer pressure alone made me watch that film, and I regretted it.
Biggest film, then pandemic happened pretty much straight after. So I guess it was worthwhile going to see. What did I watch before the pandemic? I think it might have been Queen and Slim. What was that the year before? No. Queen and Slim and Suicide, Birds of Prey. Yeah. Long story short, Will Smith. There's talk of him getting nominated for Best Actor, so I hope that happens. Okay. Head to head is what we're doing now. And this week, because we're going to talk about Dune. I've been saying June naturally, but I want to say Dune because I think that's how you're supposed to say it. It also just sounds better. Dune. June is really like June. But yeah, because of that, Denis Villeneuve doing a couple of his films. Basically, the two films that I knew were definitely on streaming services because they're always on streaming services. So might as well do them. Not his best. I mean, well, I think one of them is his best, but that's besides the point. And we've done a rival actually on this podcast. So the head-to-head this week is Sicario versus Prisoners. And we're going to start with Sicario. An idealistic FBI agent is enlisted by a government task force to aid in the escalating war against drugs at the border area between the US and Mexico. Dope synopsis there. Ross, first time with Sicario, I'm guessing. What do you think?
Yeah, it was my first time. I did like it. It's got that classic like Denis Villeneuve where it's just like beautiful, like the scenery, the shots, the way it's directed, that kind of stuff. Perfect in that sense. Acting really good. I think that's the best. Usually I'm like, I don't really rate Benicio del Toro that much as an actor, but this one I think he's really good in. Only thing I would say though about this, I think the story goes along the lines of more generic drug bust film. So the story I think brings this down for me, but everything else that goes into the film, like technically, I think is like excellent. So that's my feelings on this.
Completely disagree, but Matty, what do you think?
This film is very interesting because I read the kind of the blurb or whatever it is, the synopsis, not the synopsis, didn't give anything away. But it basically like FBI, drug people, guns. And I was like, okay, should be nice. I was expecting kind of like a summer flick, and I didn't think it'd be something that was so kind of like well constructed, and kind of well thought out, and had quite a lot of meaning through it, and kind of the journey basically that these characters are going along, and kind of like the inner workings it kind of shows of like all of the departments and the systems that are used to kind of tackle and control drug trafficking. So yeah, it's a lot more interesting than I thought it would be, and it's also very tense. I quite liked it. Was quite cinematic. There's quite some nice like aerial shots and nice transitions. I felt it lost itself a bit in the middle in terms of tone, because it's like this drug film that has a lot of momentum, and then all of a sudden they're just in a bar, just hanging out. I didn't really, at some points, I didn't really know what the objective was. I suppose that kind of mimics what you were doing in terms of Emily Blunt didn't know where she was or what was going on. And in parts of the film, I didn't know what was going on. Like they're in a bank, and I thought we were looking for a tunnel, basically. And I think areas of it could have been clearer, but if that's part of what they were trying to confuse the audience with, alongside to make you feel like you're traveling on this journey with Emily Blunt, and they succeeded in that. But I really like Benicio del Toro in this. And yeah, his character is very, very, very hard. Like he's top tier, dangerous person. And I enjoyed the tension of basically anytime there's like a gun in any of these scenes, like the tension is high just because you know how quickly things can escalate and then drop again. And it's nice. It looks tactical as well, and all well acted by everyone.
I feel like we've talked about Emily Blunt a few times on this podcast, a few of the films that she's done, another differently layered performance here. Like you say, like she's unsure exactly what's going on. She's very principled in her approach, wanted to go about things the right way, but she's being dragged on this this mission with these duplicitous characters, not really unsure of what their exact intentions are. all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just I find it to be a very compelling, tense crime drama the whole way through. It's got ideas, it's got great performances, incredible tension. I think Villeneuve is just the best at like kind of just mounting dread at any point, and no matter what the subject matter is, you feel like something terrible could happen at any point. The way he's able to kind of escalate things. So yeah, I love this one. This is my favorite. I could debate whether it's the best one between this and Arrival. Maybe we'll see what happens in this conversation. But yeah, it's definitely my favorite one. But it's up against Prisoners. When Keller Dover's daughter and her friend go missing, he takes matters into his own hands as the police pursue multiple leads and the pressure mounts. Got the pressure mounting here. Ross, did you feel the pressure? Did you like Prisoners? I feel like you've seen this one before.
I hadn't seen this one before. Oh, yeah. But I was expecting good things, and I got good things. You know, as you said, the tension of Denis Villeneuve's films. This is like some of the best it gets. You know, and like, what's it? I watched these 3 films for this podcast. I watched Arrival, and I watched the one with
Enemy.
Yeah, I watched that as well, and I think this is my favorite one. The thing I like about Denis Villeneuve is like you watch it and you're like, where the fuck is the story going? Like in a good way, and it leaves you guessing. And this one, I think it does the best at like, you know, trying to work out theories for yourself, like what could be going on, and you spend the whole film doing that, and almost in like Jake Gyllenhaal's Detective Loki's shoes, it's like, what the fuck is going on? Trying to work out what everyone's doing, etc. Like who's Paul Dano? What's he doing? The polka dot man, what he's doing, like etc. It's leaves you guessing the whole time, and great ending, and yeah, tension. Amazing, I think. And obviously the same with, as I said earlier, with all Denis Villeneuve's film, like looks amazing as well, and so well done. Directed, like probably one of the best directed films maybe like the last decade. Like it was, yeah, fantastic.
Matty.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this film before either, and I thought, I don't know, I thought it would be a bland film because I don't know, a lot of the art and the kind of the advertisement for this film just looked a bit bland on like the cover. But yeah, I was really surprised and I really enjoyed this film. Very tense all the way through, not very cinematic, but it doesn't really need to be. And the acting was a really, really high caliber. And the way the story unfolds as well, with like the twists and turns, and where it makes you think it's one thing and then it's not, and then it is again, and the way it's all interlinked, I think it's really, really well crafted, and probably one of the strongest films I've seen this year, actually, to be honest. So it's definitely something I would have overlooked if you guys hadn't made me watch it.
This film is just really fucked up. That's what kept me watching it the second time. It's just really fucked up. It's almost weird how like relatively popular it was and kind of is. Like it's just a really messed up story on all kinds of levels, from what Hugh Jackman's doing in terms of torturing Paul Dano's character to just the idea of these kids being kidnapped, and what the woman who abducted them, like her, everything she's been doing for the last 30 years, wherever it is. Yeah, I don't really like. I'm like impressed by parts of it, obviously, but like, I found it hard to just overcome just how messed up it is on so many levels. I don't know whether it was good or not. Yeah, what I have to keep thinking about. It's interesting. I was just kind of perplexed by this whole film. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen it once before and didn't have this reaction. Watching it this time, like, yeah, bit mad. Okay, let's get into the categories. Performances. May, where are you leading to here? You got a real strong effort going on with Hugh Jackman. I watched Logan again recently. That was another really good performance by him. But this one definitely up there, the best of him. On the other side, you got Sicario, a bit more subtle, I guess. Not as anything as emotionally driven as something like Hugh Jackman's doing, but very quiet, intriguing performance on the sides from Benicio del Toro, Emily Blunt doing some good work. What are you thinking of in terms of performances?
I think I would be leaning towards Prisoners immediately, but that's mainly because you're right. The emotiveness of the story leads for like more expression and more emotion and more kind of raw acting that really kind of gets to you, like especially with like Hugh Jackman in the car with Jake Gyllenhaal, them together, and then him really expressing his frustration throughout the film as well. It kind of really takes it, I think. Sicario definitely is more subtle, and maybe in terms of direction, it didn't give enough opportunity for at least Benicio del Toro to really open up emotionally. But then again, his character isn't someone who's going to do that. And I believe just through his eyes, he managed to get quite a lot of emotion, just even into that last scene with the balcony, and then her threatening to shoot him and then not shooting him. But yeah, I think Hugh Jackman here, along with each and every member of the cast, kind of supporting and adding to that. And then also the same, was it Paul Dano? Something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
him. He really exceptional. I think I haven't really seen him in too many films, obviously apart from There Will Be Blood, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he really does like kind of encapsulate his role, and he does look almost completely different for no reason. And you can't quite put your finger on it. It's just the way he acts. He acts completely different, and he is a different person. So I think I definitely give it to Prisoners.
Having to fight all my urges to just not go Sicario whenever you can. But I just love so much what Del Toro is doing in terms of the mystery when he first arrives on the private plane to take them over to El Paso. There's everything not unsure about his intentions, his backstory, how lethal he can be, and you find that out later in the film, what a skilled hitman he is, and all that kind of thing. Just like all the work that he's doing there, and then Daniel Kaluuya as well. Daniel Kaluuya, who's just on like a run now, where I was talking about Will Smith earlier about not making a tremendous amount of good films in the last 15, 20 years. You look at Daniel Kaluuya's last like 6 or 7 IMDb credits, and they're pretty much all bangers, depending on how it might vary on some counts, but I think you can all appreciate they're all good to great films, and he's great in pretty much all of them. And even here, just like a small role, there's a few times he just really delivers. He's just so commanding. Like I like the bit with when they're trying to get an answer out of Josh Brolin's character about what's actually going on, what is the mission, and obviously he still, even at that point, they get an answer, but it's not the actual true nature of why they needed Emily Blunt and everything, and that comes out later in the story. But anyway, in that one point where he's trying to get an answer out of him, he's like, Matt, can we talk for a minute? Like just all of a sudden Emily Blunt's like, fine, you ask him. He's like, Matt, can we talk for a minute? Just all of a sudden. And just love the commanding nature of his acting style. Thinking about Judas and the Black Messiah, which we talked about in the Oscars show earlier. What's the thing that he says in Judas and the Black Messiah, like in his speech?
I am a revolutionary.
Yeah. It's literally like that. His voice just sounds like, man, can we talk for a minute? I am a revolutionary. It's all similar pitch. So yeah, Sicario. I just love all this. I love all the little detail, all the little splinters of performances going on in there. But Ross, what are you looking for in terms of performances?
Yeah, I can really appreciate the Sicario performances, especially for like, I feel like when you get action films, it's harder to get performances through like are good. But I think Benicio del Toro does a really good job. As I said, Daniel Kaluuya, Josh Brolin's always entertaining whenever he's on screen, and say Emily Blunt the same pretty much. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Prisoners. I think just because maybe it is because the film itself just allows kind of more depth to the characters and allows more kind of scope for emotions. I think that's why it would tip in that way. I think Hugh Jackman probably is his best role. As you said, Logan, he's really good, but I really like Hugh Jackman in this film. Surprised he wasn't nominated for the Academy Awards for this one, to be honest. Matty touched on Paul Dano. I really like him as well. I feel like I've never watched him on screen and not enjoyed his performance. Jake Gyllenhaal's the same. I pretty much always enjoy Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think like the Hugh Jackman, Paul Dano, and Jake Gyllenhaal performances alone are enough for me to kind of to pull this towards Prisoners for me, because I think they're all great in it and they all give like the perfect amount of like emotion and this like yeah, I just think they're all really good in it. And yeah, so Prisoners.
Daniel loves playing weirdos, like insular weirdos, like his Little Miss Sunshine. There's another one. There's definitely another example. Paul
He's
Dano.
a slave. He's in. He's a slave master. But he gets like beat. It's like at the start. He gets like
yeah,
he gets the whip
they...
taken off him and starts getting whipped.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he plays it straight in Oakjar though. Remember that?
I've never seen Swiss Army Man.
Neither.
He's meant to be good in that as well.
Yeah. Anyways, Prisoners 1-0 up. Story. This is where I'm not. There's not even a debate for me in terms of Sicario is a superior story. I think Prisoners just gets it's not a compelling story. It's like they're abducted and he's torturing this guy. Like I like the idea of what lengths would you go to protect or to retrieve your child and what that desperation does to someone. That's like the biggest theme, I guess. And that's well founded in a deeply fucked up way. But aside from that, it kind of just becomes it gets a bit old for me and a bit plodding the longer we go along with him just torturing him. And there's not a tremendous amount of intrigue I find in the story as it goes along Prisoners. Whereas Sicario, fundamentally, it's like, at what point do the good guys or who we think are the good guys or meant to be the good guys in terms of like the FBI or whatever, at what point in this kind of war do they become the bad guys in the terms of the tactics they're operating to try and achieve their goal? Just that kind of idea I just find to be really strong. And the general, we're on a not less thematic level in terms of Sicario, just from like Matt was talking about, like from being in Emily Blunt's perspective and not knowing what's going on and why you've been roped into this and what their mission is and how that keeps the goalposts keep shifting in terms of what they're trying to achieve until you realize, yeah, you're literally just there so they can kind of get around a loophole in the law because they needed someone like, they needed a US, I can't remember what is it? Like you needed like a US security, whatever, blah, 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 in order for them to operate in America. They needed someone in her position, kind of thing. I don't know the technical language. I can't remember. But yeah, that idea, not knowing what's going on, and eventually realizing you're just kind of redundant. You're just there for the sake of it. Good stuff. So I like Sicario, and that's the point. But Matt, you were shaking your head there. You feel the Prisoners' story can take it here?
Yeah, I think Prisoners is kind of like a superior in terms of like how I was hooked and wanted to like see it through to the end. Prisoners was definitely better for me. It's more like of an intrigue into where they actually are. Are they dead or not? Who is taking them? What is going on with everything that's been hinted to so far with Alex and every like little word that he slips out that you kind of question and it changes things. And they're like the littlest clues. And also that like the journey that each of the characters go, you can see their frustration completely change them. Obviously like Hugh Jackman, like basically not betraying his faith, but like losing his way halfway. And then when all hope is lost, basically for him, he turns back to it, which is almost too late considering everything he's done. And then also Loki being kind of a different character completely, who's not kind of religious, but kind of has his beliefs and has his way of working and he sticks to them even though he gets frustrated. And you see that he never kind of breaks down or loses kind of like his hope that he will find these people, and he does. So I feel like it's just kind of like a stronger story to follow because you can kind of see that physical effect on each of the characters. You kind of see the end result on Emily Blunt, but the other characters kind of seem more or less unaffected by what they're doing. I think you don't really even see Daniel after the actual last final mission. I think you even see him for how he's reacted to everything. It's all about Emily then. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't really like the ambiguous ending. Is it ambiguous or unambiguous? The unclear ending from Prisoners. I like to think they got him out the hole. But I'm not sure they would have. That's the only bit that's annoying for me, and I could possibly be persuaded with some good arguments from Ross that Prisoners is a little bit of a silly film.
Go on, Ross.
I think, yeah, I'm not sure. Like Sicario, for some, like it just kind of, I'm not that excited by it. Like I enjoyed it, but it's, yeah, I think, as I said earlier, it's just kind of like, oh, it's just like a drug bust movie, and like there's nothing we haven't seen before, I don't think, in Sicario. But I think Prisoners, it it made me want to watch it right to the end. Like, and I was on the edge of my seat, kind of excited and wanting to find out what's happening. And I think the same with like Emily Blunt, she like kind of confused with her, but I think they do that better. But with Detective Loki, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, trying to find out what's going on, Paul Dano, like who the fuck is he? With as like every word that slips out, you kind of like trying to piece everything together. Whilst kind of like the other characters just go more and more insane about everything that's going on, and then the polka dot man comes into it, and you're like, who's this guy then, and why he's got like snakes all over his room and stuff, what's going on, that kind of thing. And then like with the grandma, and it makes sense that it pieces it all together. And I really enjoyed this kind of like that feeling of like being on the edge of the seat and wanting to know what's happening. And I think that's why Prisoner sways me. Like, yeah, let's say Sicario, it is good in a certain aspect, but it's nothing. Yeah, I'll say I feel there's nothing I haven't seen before. It's like, yeah, just like what you'd see in most kind of drug bust movies, story wise, is what I think, really.
I don't think that. I think most drug bust movies don't give both sides in the way that Sicario attempts to do, and attempts to humanize the people like affected by the troubles like this going on, and the effect it has in turning the people trying to weed out the bad people. It actually turns them into kind of villainous characters in terms of Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro, in terms of becoming what they're trying to fight ultimately. But yeah, Prisoners 2-0 up. Visual style. Denis Villeneuve talked about that. Big thing about his films is the scale, the ambition. Obviously, I talk about that a lot in terms of Dune, what they accomplished there. Dune wasn't shot by Deakins, but both of these films were. A bit mad. Very weird film. Both films kind of weird for Deakins to tackle if it wasn't working with Villeneuve. But yeah, visual style. Lots of big sweeping shots in Sicario. Thinking about the Juarez sequence at the start of the film. Everything about that in terms of how they build tension is tied in with the visuals. But what, Ross, what are you thinking in terms of visual style? What Deakins film does it better here?
Yeah, so last week we spoke about Deakins as well because he did Skyfall. But I think, yeah, he's just another level. I think Sicario has to take it because it is out in that kind of like big open desert environment, and he managed to get these like big, like beautiful shots, like almost like lonely in a sense in the way it's done. I think Prisoners does really well at kind of giving like the dark, depressing tones and colors within the film, and kind of setting the mood that way. But I think Sicario gets it over it, just, yeah, because it does have these like big lonely shots and the big landscapes. And yeah, I think that's why they're both really good, obviously. But yeah, Sicario would sway this for me.
I was watching Halloween earlier. And one thing I like about Halloween is and there's other films that do this as well, like to create the a sense of danger in like the suburban environment. That's the type of place you wouldn't think bad stuff would happen. They create this kind of sense of unease in those environments. They do that in Halloween. And I like how the visuals aid that feeling at the start of Prisoners. It's just very calm, just nice. Like get nice shots of them walking. They walk out the front door of their house, nice big house in a nice neighborhood, nice quiet place, and walk over to their neighbor's house. Oh, it's all nice. Everything about that. The way the whole look and feel at the start there, I thought was really effective in terms of and then like feeling like nothing bad could happen in this place, especially something as heinous as what we later find out does happen, and certainly never having certainly wouldn't expect your kids to be abducted from a place like that. Very nice place. The visuals aid that in that way. But of course, I'm going for Sicario still because, yeah, Juarez, just incredible stuff. My favorite. It's my favorite film of Villeneuve, but also that's my favorite kind of sequence. The whole bit building up to them executing the first kind of mission at the start. But May, what do you think for visual style? Ross is plumped for Sicario for the first time. What are you thinking?
I would say both are quite subtle, but I would lean more with Sicario as well. Prisoners definitely does have that. It sets the tone well. Everything seems quite grey, and kind of, especially when you're working through scenes where they're exploring houses. I like that, especially when they're exploring the vicar's house early on in the film, and also when they're exploring, they're kind of following through raids, especially kind of the fake guy who just got all the pig's blood as well when they're raiding his house as well. That all works really well. And it definitely has a kind of style to it. I just prefer that of Sicario for some reason. It seems a little bit more cinematic when working through, especially gunfight scenes. Working those in so they still feel like a film and they're not too fast paced, and they lead you well. I especially like the work that they did on the last kind of, not gunfight, but when he's entering the house. It kind of leads you in all the wrong angles so that it makes Benicio pop up in places you don't expect. It makes you follow where you think he would be, and then when he pops up somewhere else, it makes you appreciate like. I think it really complements the style of film it is, if that makes sense.
Got that whole night vision bit going on as well when they're in the tunnels. Didn't talk about that as well. Another thing that was pretty cool. Also, just mad how brutal that final scene was with Del Toro. The way he basically, because you expect he just wants revenge on the guy who killed his family. You still, I don't even though there's no evidence to support this up to that point, you still don't think he's just going to murder the kids and the wife, like they're in cold blood, just like that. It's like, no, he's not a good guy. Like he was willing to help the so-called good guys in order to get what he needed, but he's definitely not a good guy. Just executes the kid and the wife. You don't even see it as well. To really stick the knife into the guy who eventually kills. But yeah, good stuff. Sicario gets first point on the board. Okay, tone. This is where, yeah, it's kind of, tone is kind of linked to story in terms of my issues with Prisoners, in terms of just how dark and fucked up it is. It's kind of a bit much. I'm not sure it necessarily makes it good. But yeah, that was my biggest concern with that. But Ross, what are you feeling in terms of tone?
I enjoy the dark tone of Prisoners. I think because of the story, how deep it is all going on, like I think anything to do with children, especially like kidnapping and stuff, is always makes it a lot more serious. And I think it has to be like a dark film for that to work. So I think the dark tone suits it, and I think especially with like what you find out that happened to Paul Dano's character as well, and why he's the way he is. And obviously Detective Loki has a past, etc. Everything's dark in this film, and I think the tone has to be dark to suit the kind of story and the things going on, and I enjoy that within this. Sicario, I think the tone is less like constant. It's harder for me to it's harder for me to kind of pinpoint exactly what the tone is in Sicario, I think, and I can't like get my head around that. So I think because Prisoners is I can't think of the words, more like I said, like constant with the way it is dark. I enjoy that more. So I think I'll go Prisoners again.
I feel like one of the things I like about Sicario is also could be seen as a weakness in terms of how they tried, like, you know, the little side plot with the Mexican dad, who's a corrupt cop, and his son. And you have like a few scenes with them, with the son like wanting to play football, and we're quite like he brings breakfast into his dad, all that kind of stuff. That I attempted to show the human element to these people and like how he's a corrupt cop, but it's probably hard to, if you're in that environment, it's hard to avoid those situations. It's hard to proceed with honor. Like he's obviously not going to be making a lot of money, and he's going to be exposed to a lot of corrupt activity. So trying to stay away from that would be difficult. It's not necessarily his fault. And ultimately, he still has a kid, he still has a wife, he's still a family man. So when he's just unceremoniously killed by Benicio del Toro later in the film, we're meant to feel something deeper for him and understand that, yeah, these are actual real people getting affected by their wars. They're like the war on drugs and all that kind of stuff that's going on. The US Mexico border. I don't think it's quite as bad as it once was, like when they were writing this film. But yeah, though whilst I think that was good, it also felt a bit like tacked on. Like obviously they only get like a few scenes with it, and it was like it felt a bit like, okay, yeah, you really need to care about this guy, and you're going to feel the emotion when he just gets killed out of nowhere. It's one of them ones. Like I like it, but also maybe it could have been done a bit better. Don't know how, but maybe it could have done a bit better. May, tone, Sicario, Prisoners. What are you thinking?
Both are quite close actually because they are kind of demonstrating different tones. Sicario is one of a bit more injustice, and then Prisoners is a little bit more kind of perseverance and struggle and kind of like the inevitableness of kind of like time. I'd say it's hard to split the two. I'd probably just say because the tone stays consistent within Prisoners, but with Sicario it seems to get lost. I mean, just that middle bit where it kind of goes to the bar, and kind of, I don't know, you kind of just lose where you are. Maybe that's kind of representation of Emily Blunt losing where she is. If that's the case, I'd give it to Sicario, and if it's not the case, I give it to Prisoners. So I'll let Leon decide by what he interprets through that middle kind of section of Sicario where my vote goes.
I want to know if drug gangs actually have wristbands to indicate they're part of a gang. That's how she recognizes that John Bernthald's character is like a bit off. She sees his wristband. I don't know if you pick that up. Like she sees his wristband, and that's when it's like, oh, he's part of the like corrupt gang that we're trying to take down. Like is that thing that you do? They just have wristbands to like clearly show like that. Yeah, we're the bad guys here. Like I didn't really understand that. Like he's a corrupt cop, and he's just why would you wear a wristband to like show that you're associated with them? I don't know. That was weird.
It's because those wristbands used to tie up the money that was given to the bank earlier the day. So she saw the wads of money that woman got arrested at 9,000 was tied up in those wristbands, and he had one. So he'd obviously been wherever the money had been taken from, if that makes sense. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. But then
Why
even
would you wear it? If he's a policeman, why would you wear it if it can be like traced in any way? It seems weird.
I guess he forgot, but still, because
He
even
was just in his pocket. You know?
Even
he took his keys out, didn't he?
Yeah, but even we get like one scene or like a few seconds at the main boss's house before we meet him at the end. There's like a bit with his kids playing in the pool, I think, and he's wearing the wristband at that point as well. Like, and he wasn't doing anything with the. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird one. Maybe it's based on facts. I don't know. It did feel a bit convenient to the plot at that point. It's like, yeah, they're getting together and then she spots the wristband and now he's a bad guy and they're gonna have this confrontation. Yeah. In terms of what I think, well, I was gonna go for Sicario. So does that mean Sicario wins? Is that what's just happened?
Why not? Let's make it a draw leading to the final
man.
round.
Okay, it's 2-2. I mean, the final round, I could not think of a category. I feel like for the first time there was just nothing came naturally to me in terms of a unique category. So because I was just so abhorred by what I was watching in Prisoners, and also because I forgot how depraved the first scene is in Sicario, completely forgot about that. It's a really rewatchable film, but that first scene with the dead, like the corpses behind the walls all strung up, it's very fucked up. I forgot how dark that was. To talk about Prisoners being dark, that was very dark as well. So yeah, the Uni character just was the most fucked up moment. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything else. There's something in Prisoners. Is it when she's the woman who's abducted all these kids, is like still trying to inject her. Like she knows she's about to die. She's like, yeah, just what did she say? Don't bury me or don't cremate me. It was one of them, and she's still trying to inject the kids with the drug used to sedate them. Or was it Sicario? That whole opening bit with those bodies is just deeply messed up. Don't know. What's the most fucked up moment, Ross, across these two films?
I feel like it's hard to pinpoint what in Prisoners is the most fucked up bit, because I think like just the whole thing with like Paul Dano being beaten up the whole film and being like tortured, like horrifically tortured.
And he's technically
then,
a 10-year-old in terms of
yeah,
his mental age. It's basically like, yeah, torturing a 10-year-old.
Pretty much. And then you find out he's that woman's kid that son went missing 20 years ago, whatever it was, 13 years ago, whatever it was, I can't remember. So I think like that in my mind is the most fucked. It's not like a moment because it goes on throughout the whole film, but that in my mind is the most fucked up thing out of all of these. The fact that like a disabled man who, yeah, basically is a 10-year-old is just being tortured, like brutally beaten throughout the whole film. And I think that for me is probably the most fucked up out of this whole couple films.
May, most fucked up moment.
I think all of Prisoners is like very fucked up, but you don't really see anything that's too messed up, I think. So I think I'd say definitely just shooting those children and the mum like outright, so like cold-bloodedly in Sicario is probably the most fucked up thing that you basically see on camera. Because Prisoners is kind of quite subtle and it doesn't really show too much. I mean, it shows someone shoot themselves through the mouth and out the back of the head. But like that was a weird guy anyway, so I don't know. It's just, yeah, Sicario.
Yeah, that is messed up. What in Prisoners disgusted me the most. I don't know. It's just the whole Paul Dano of it all. Maybe with like when he rigged the shower, when it was, and it's just like, yeah. See, it's got two settings: either it's scaldingly hot or it's freezing cold, and all that. All those little inventions he makes to try to torture him. And at that point, Hugh Jackman's just so obviously desperately trying to get answers out of him, and he can't. So he just sees it's almost like going through the motions at that point. He's completely beaten down. It's like, yeah, this one's scalding and this one's freezing. I'm just trying to do. I don't really think this is going to work, but you know what? I'm in too deep now. Kind of got to keep going. One of them ones. So yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, I'm leaning towards Prisoners. So Prisoners will get the point. Guess it's hard to even judge that as a category. Most fucked up moment. It's an individual moment. We have different moments. So I don't really think this through. But most fucked up film is Prisoners. That's what it should have been. What's the most fucked up film out of the two? Prisoners. That's where we've gone. Okay. Guys gets the point. 3-2 win. And now this page on my Google Chrome has just crashed, which had the information that I wanted with the synopsis of Dune and stuff, which is annoying. Why is it doing that? Anyway, yeah. Prisoners, 3-2 win, head to head.
All right, cool. Okay, so we all know what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
No, the audience don't.
Oh, the audience don't. Right, so this is the big movie quiz game. It's a game called the Big Movie Quiz, and it has cards, and it has categories of comedy classics, Oscar winners, and action movies, and it's pretty much just got Q&A stuff on it. So we'll do you two. There's 2 questions in each card, so we'll do you 2 cards from each category each. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's go. Who wants to go first?
May.
Matt, who wants to go first? All right. We'll start you off with comedy classics. So let's have a look at this. Where should we go? What card should we go with? Right. Comedy classics. Which film was released first? Sleepless in Seattle or You've Got Mail?
Sleepless in Seattle.
Correct. That's a point.
Thank you.
And then, in which US state was Fargo set?
I'm gonna say somewhere in the north. Is it Alaska?
No, incorrect. It's Minnesota.
Of course it
No
is.
funny
Oh
accents.
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
The tiny soda 'cause it's so small.
Okay. Right, and Matty, we'll do your Oscar winners ones now.
Okay.
With what film did Lupita Nyong'o win the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 2014?
Should I know this?
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't. I don't think it's Black Panther.
She won it for playing Maz Kanata. Or is it Maz or Naz?
As
Naz.
Yes. Is it? Wait, is it? No, it's not.
No.
No. Well, I'm gonna go with that anyway because it's my best guess, and I'm gonna say Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
it's correct. No, it was 12 Years a Slave.
Fuck! I was gonna say that.
Maz Kanata was in 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, she was. She wanted the Wookiee. I remember it. Where's my boyfriend?
All right. And next one. In what year did Chariots of Fire win the Academy Award for Best Picture?
I'm gonna say it's before 2000. Am I close?
This one separates the men from the boys.
I don't know. 1991.
1982 is the correct answer.
That was pretty close.
Matty, you've only got 1 point out of 4 so far.
That's not bad. Still got one.
Okay. Action movies.
100% more than Leon's got right now.
I guess so. So, action movies.
Yeah.
Which singer had his film debut in Dunkirk?
Harry Styles.
Correct.
Too easy. Too easy, please. Fucking hell.
He's doing
Right.
proper acting now. He's in the French Dispatch, isn't it?
Is he? I
Is
don't
he?
remember seeing. I don't remember seeing him.
I'm pretty sure he is.
He
Not
might
as
be.
like a main character. Oh fuck! Google Chrome's just wigging
It's
out.
probably like the bottom left hand of the screen. I didn't see him or something like that. All right. And then, which film starring Russell Crowe contains the line, "Are you not entertained?"
This is a joke. Why don't I get these questions?
This is your question.
Oh, is it me? Pass. Gladiator.
Gladiator is correct.
I thought you were giving it to Leon.
Mate, he does an exam. He doesn't think all the questions are for him. He's like, he's got the easiest question.
Yeah, I'm just looking at other people's papers. This is your desk, sir.
Okay. All right. Leon, are you ready?
Yeah.
So these ones are definitely for Leon.
Might be.
All right, got you.
So, back to comedy classics. Jake and Elwood are characters in which 1980 film?
1980.
Yeah.
The only comedy I know from 1980 is Caddyshack.
It's the Blues Brothers.
Haven't seen it.
Okay. And the next comedy question. What is the name of Peter's gym in Dodgeball?
I've seen it once. Don't really remember anything about it. It's called Gym.
Average Joe's Gymnasium.
Nah, would never have got that.
Okay. Would you have got that, May?
No, he says no.
No,
No.
I say no.
Okay. Leon. Your Oscar winners questions. This is probably the category you've been waiting for. What was the first horror film to be nominated for Best Picture?
Uh,
Tense.
that's like, what is horror? Uh, we're all on a journey. Well, they say Silence of the Lambs is the first one to win. Even though I would even define it as horror. So that's where it's like, but what they, I feel like this is probably, are they counting Jaws as a horror? Is that the answer? That's my answer. That's my answer.
Okay. The answer is The Exorcist.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Okay. All right. Next one. Edith Head won 8 Academy Awards during her career, but for what category?
Edith Head. That was the name, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No idea who that is. The question, there was no indication as to what she does. In the question was there could be anything, because she could be a costume designer, she could be a sound designer, she could be a director. Don't think so. I think I would have heard of her if it's a director. Maybe not. Maybe a screenwriter. I don't know. She won 8 Oscars. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And what was the question?
So Edith Head won 8 Academy Awards during her career, but for which category?
Which category?
That's a guess. It was quite a hard question, to be fair. I did just randomly pick the cards out of the packs, by the way.
She won 8 Academy Awards for her work in makeup and hairstyling.
Oof, it's best costume design.
Oh, fuck!
So close. All right.
Sake.
Action movies. Right. Okay. Which film in the Indiana Jones series stars Sean Connery?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Correct. And
yes, sick film.
What profession is Jamie Foxx's character in Collateral?
Cab driver.
Cab driver, indeed.
But he wants to own a limo company.
Oh yeah. Right. I think we'll do one more card each, and you can pick which category the card comes from.
Right.
As a bonus round. All right. Matty, I'll let you go first. So would you like action movies, Oscar winners, or comedy classics?
Action movies.
Action movies, okay.
Please, Ross. Thank you.
That's okay. And a vowel, please, Ross. And a consonant.
That's okay for you, Leon. And a vowel.
A vowel, please. Okay. Matthew. Which US city is the location for RoboCop?
Boston.
It's Detroit, man. It's Detroit.
Dude, I'm from Detroit.
Okay, there's no way I was going to know that. Leon, whatever.
All right, Matty, you have another question on this card.
Yes.
Which film stars Bruce Willis, Helen Mirren, and Morgan Freeman as former Black Ops agents?
Red.
Red is correct. Right.
He just said a color. He wasn't even saying the film. He was just saying color. He just said a color. He just likes red.
So Matty's on 4 points. Leon, you're on 2 points. If you can get both of these right, you can equal the score.
No chance. No chance.
I'm guessing you want Oscar winners.
Nah, do action.
You want action? Ooh.
The action is the juice.
Denis Villeneuve subverting expectations like that. Jeez. Okay. Okay. Let's randomly select a card.
We said Brandon. I thought you said Brandon Lee there.
Brandon Lee,
it's Bruce Lee's son. Who, you know, the thing with Alec Baldwin, how he shot.
That happened.
Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son. He had the similar thing happen when he died.
Yeah. Okay. Which film series features the characters Rig and Murtaugh?
Lethal Weapon.
Yes. Okay. Which actor stars in the Transporter film series?
Jason Statham.
Correct. Scores are equal. The scores are equal.
Do one question. Yeah. Do one
One
question, and we have to, and it's whoever says it first.
Okay.
One question, go. Can I
Any
have £5?
Not
please?
even from the cards. Just a question. Any question. What's the
Okay.
meaning of life?
No,
All right.
47. No, 40, 44.
I'll do it from the cards. Okay, let's have a look. I don't know that.
Is it a speed one? Whoever says it first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
You don't have to get it right. You just have to say it first.
Watermelon.
Which film won the 1999 Academy Award for Best Picture?
Shakespeare in Love.
No.
999.
Fight Club.
No.
But what? 1999, Ross.
Yeah.
Shakespeare in Love.
You know what? It says American Beauty, but I think that the film came out in 99. I feel like it actually won in 2000s.
Yeah.
Is the card wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, do an
I'll do
action.
Yeah.
Different
Different.
Do an action. Action.
Do an action.
I'm not weird. I don't sit at home memorizing Oscar winners.
Okay. Which 1999 film stars Will Smith as James West?
James West.
Yeah.
Wild West.
Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West.
Fuck!
Yeah. Unlucky, mate. That's got a sick soundtrack.
Gave it to him on a plate. No.
He turned down the Matrix for that.
Yeah. Idiot. Fucking bombed it.
More Will Smith bad decisions, bad films. Not good.
Mm.
Not good podcast. Not good podcast for him.
No.
It'll be good. It'll be better when we do King Richard.
We're actually doing that on here.
I don't know. I'll see what the dates line up.
The outsiders ravage our land. Their cruelty to my people is all I've known.
So you're going tomorrow?
Yes, I'm going tomorrow with the advance team.
I'd like you to take me with you.
You've been trying to get me court-martialed.
Can I trust you with something? I've been having dreams about a girl fallen in battle. Felt like a vision.
Dreams make good stories, but everything important happens when we're awake.
To the future of House Atreides.
You have to be ready.
There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
They're not human, they're brutal.
What if I'm not dead? You'll still be the only thing I ever needed you to be.
Come on!
My son. I know you.
Tonight, the bloodline ends forever. Kill them all.
This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one. Only together can we stand a chance.
Let's fight like demons.
It's not safe for you here.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. For the fear is gone. Only I will remain.
This is only the beginning.
Dune. Feature adaptation of Frank Herbert's science fiction novel about the son of a noble family entrusted with the protection of the most valuable asset and most vital element in the galaxy. That is Dune. I was never aware of this book, never aware of this film made by David Lynch in the 80s. I think the book came out in the 60s. Not aware of the influence it had. Like when you watch the film now and become aware of the story, you realize, okay, yeah, Star Wars, all these kinds of other like more and more like sci-fi oriented films owe a lot to the Dune story and what Frank Herbert created. Herbert, I just realized Frank Herbert, Ross Herbert. What he created in this universe.
I have some guest speakers if you want to talk about Dune.
Frank.
Would you say, May?
I have some guest speakers who may want to talk about Dune because they've already seen them.
Dune! Yeah. Anyone could talk about Dune. What was I saying? Before Ross decided to interrupt, but not interrupt because he couldn't hear his mic. Dune, yeah. Dune.
We're here.
Hello.
Who's that? That's Liv and
India. This is my housemate.
I remember India. Yeah, I remember India.
Yeah, when you took your top off and danced around.
I remember that.
Me? Wait, what? I took my top off.
In my memory.
You're a mess.
Don't remember that. Mad. What did you think of Dune?
Dune. We thought the first half was good.
I
thought the first half was good. I understood that bit and I was vibing with that. Good first half. Second half, we just didn't know when it was going to end. Ross, stop laughing.
No, you're actually on to a good. That's basically what I think about the film as well.
Yeah.
I was laughing.
It literally could have gone on for like 3 more hours. I was like, is this going to end or are we going to keep watching for an hour and a half more? Like, when's it going to end?
I feel like they should have ended the film with them like taking down the planet. It was a bit weird.
Yeah,
you had like
this is the end.
The biggest event in the film was in the middle.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of the time, you're like kind of like, what's going on? They're like in the desert.
And also, I thought that Zendaya was going to be like main character. She was fucking 7 minutes in heaven. Like, didn't even do anything.
Yeah. I feel like they're gonna have to pick her up in the second film. Not gonna lie.
Do you think there's going to be a second film?
Yeah, they announced it today.
Yeah.
Well, I was sure the press tour. All she did was this for the whole film.
That's an ace impression. I rate that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you had to promote.
Is Leonie there?
No. Well, she's here, but over there.
Is she in the back? Is she in the background?
No, she's in the bathroom.
Oh.
In the room right now. She'll be back in a sec.
Leonie always sits in the background here.
Leonie hates Dune, Ross.
Yeah,
Wait. Oh yeah. What was the reason? What was the reason?
Well, she's about to come in.
Yeah, she won't speak. She won't speak.
Leonie, do you want to come tell Leon why you hate Dune?
Huh?
Do you want to come tell Leon why you hate Dune?
No, my face is wet.
She said, "No, my face is wet."
Fairs.
Basically.
Yeah, Ross, tell me. I'm genuinely intrigued. What was it? It was half a star, wasn't it? On
You gave it a star, half a star.
It was half a star.
That's all it was worth. That's all it was.
That's very bold. I want to hear the reasons.
It was just so bad.
So the towel with you.
I did say my face is wet.
Did you think the first half was bad or just the second half?
Just the whole thing.
Give me details, Leonie.
I didn't even realise there was 2 halves, to be honest.
The film is a half, if you think about it.
I mean, yeah, it's an incomplete story. Then it's very weird they didn't promote it as Dune Part 1.
Yeah,
because they don't know.
You're right.
And I was kind of watching like, when is it going to end? I was kind of watching it like that.
You know, when you watched it, did it say Dune Part 1 at the start?
Yeah.
In America, apparently in America, it doesn't say that. Like if you watch it in the cinema, that's what I've been hearing on podcasts. Like it doesn't say Dune Part 1 at the start.
How weird.
Yeah, we missed the start.
We were getting Tango Ice Blood. So
that's the best bit. Oh my days, you missed the best bit.
We got there and they were talking in the crowd.
It was the presentation where they were like, oh, why have they spent all this money for this?
That is the start anyway, isn't it?
I think it's the start, like the big like wordy history of the planet. I
think we missed like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I don't remember a lot about that anyway.
Matty and Tom were quite annoyed that we missed the start.
Yeah.
They were sort of fucking.
Popcorn there.
Yeah.
What is the storyline? What is the story?
They're just what is the
planet on his worms. That is the story.
What story?
Leonie, do you like Lord of the Rings?
No.
I've never watched Lord of the Rings, so I can.
I feel like if you don't like Lord of the Rings, this is like
not
the same, but like
the
It's a
same like
vibe.
tone and pacing as Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I feel
like,
it isn't really my.
but
type of-
I called it like
That's
Game of Thrones in space.
I've seen a lot of people
With,
say
like,
that.
Game of
Politics.
Thrones, another thing that's been influenced by Dune. All that like
Yeah.
political strategies, all that kind of stuff going on.
The worms should have been on the press tour because they were a big part of
The worms were the best part of
Bigger
it.
part than
When you
Zendaya.
disappointed, there wasn't
They
enough
were.
Yeah, the worms
Yeah.
look pretty sick. Not gonna lie.
There wasn't
Yeah,
enough.
They're
And you
fucking
didn't
mad. That's
see
what
them
Denis Villeneuve is so
there
good
wasn't
at.
enough of
He made the
them.
worms at fucking.
Not
They
enough.
should have called the film Worms. There's constant desert worms.
But
Sand.
I love that shot where Timothy Chalamet looks so small and the massive worm.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
Behind
gonna
that,
get him.
You want to eat the worm or Timothy Chalamet?
The worm to eat Timothy Chalamet.
Oh right.
You want to eat Timothy Chalamet?
I would eat.
You would if you could.
I would, yeah.
You would if you could. Leonie, did you not like Rebecca Ferguson's performance? That was my favorite. All the famous people in this, she was my favorite. You not
Is
like
that the
her?
mum?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
really
she
Yeah,
was
she was
good.
good.
Yeah.
the
that-
acting was good. The art directing was good. The costumes were good. The storyline, I don't even know what's going on.
My favorite performance was Jason Momoa.
Oh, yeah, actually, no, yeah.
Is that because sexy though? Is that just because that's
Yeah, obviously.
sexy?
But I think
Obviously, yeah, he's paying,
he's just
but
like a
still.
breath of fresh air. Like,
A breath
within
of
that
fresh
whole-
air. A breath of fresh air.
breath of fresh. He's a breath of fresh air, like within the whole film.
He's the only one who gets to be funny, really. Like, so everyone's really serious. He's the only one who gets to be a bit like charismatic. No, he was sick. Best supporting actor.
Yeah, agreed.
I just feel like it was trying to be really profound, but it's still, even though it was really long, it felt rushed. Like they were trying to be like very deep, but it was all too quick. Like the scenes were too quick.
Yeah, I feel that's all just it was all just at the same point that it should have just ended with like the big battle.
Yeah.
Like fundamentally, it's just like hard to like think about it
Like
like
is
that.
this the
Like, I don't
end?
know.
It would just carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were waiting for the end for like an hour.
I had no idea where we were in the film. I was like, 'cause
What's
we didn't know
going
how much we'd missed. We were like, shit, we midway at the end, beginning.
Yeah.
There's just no sign. I just didn't know.
It's
where I
quite
was.
funny because I didn't realize how much of a mess it actually was until like reflecting upon it.
No,
that's the thing.
it's not a mess.
It's
I
not
wouldn't
like
go
a
that-
mess, but I didn't realize how like reflecting upon it does make it. I think we're making it seem a lot worse than it actually was.
It
No,
was still a
no,
really
hold
good
on.
film, just
I
with
don't
a lot of
know.
questions.
Why are you not in it?
Let me clarify things. I still think this is a very good film,
I
even
agree.
though the pacing's a bit off. I've heard one podcast I was listening to made a good point when it was like Denis Villeneuve convinces you you're watching like the best thing ever created for like 15 minutes. And then you kind of by the end you kind of realize, okay, it wasn't that good, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's one of them ones.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the
You're
best thing I've ever
"Whoa,"
seen.
and then you're
But
like,
yeah, you're like proper. Yeah, you're literally like that. It's like, whoa, fucking hell! I didn't realize you could make something
think-
look like this on screen.
yeah.
When
You can
part
still
two
appreciate like
gives a
all the time
conclusion.
that went into it and all of the like the scenes and the CGI is still pretty good. Like,
Yeah,
When part two gives a
Right.
conclusion, and I want to see because I have no idea. I've never like even read the book. I say like same as you. I wasn't even aware of the book or the
yeah.
original film.
It's very mad.
So
very
I
mad.
want to
wasn't
see
aware.
how this like concludes.
Yeah, that is
Fine.
ultimately
We
it.
talked about prisoners already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that
Why,
was
you-
my
do you-
hours
why-
better.
you have thoughts on Prisoners. What are you thinking?
I thought it was really good.
Why does everyone
Yeah.
love Prisoners? Everyone just loves
They only
fucked
like
up
It was
Prisoners.
good.
kidnapping stories.
It was really long because we were like, it was like, what was it, 11:30? We were like, it's got to be done in like 10, 20 minutes. And it was like an hour left. And we were like, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Do you watch Sicario as well?
Do we watch the what? No, I didn't watch that.
You should watch that. It's
Adnan
better.
watched that. You should get Adnan.
That was good.
It's better.
No, it wasn't as good. No.
Adnan,
still better than
drunk Adnan. That's
Drunk Adnan. Adnan's sized up now. He's got a lot more metabolism to.
Adnan, who you can't even tell that he's drunk. And then that was so
And
funny.
then-
Yeah, that's so
We're
funny.
just sitting
Yeah.
there. I'm just thinking that's his personality, and then Matty's like, "Oh no, he's fucked." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He was just sitting there. He was just sitting there being normal. I was like, "What do you mean he's fucked?" I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he was
No,
like-
yeah, that's him. Yeah.
he's the best looking in our friendship group now. By far.
Better than looking than Matty.
I think Matty is.
What if Matty shaved?
No, I
No, I think
take it away now.
he looks better with a beard. Definitely.
I feel like we've gone off topic of Dune. What was I saying?
Yeah.
So, okay, the best looking: Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Jason Momoa.
Obviously, Jason Momoa. Wait, it's not even.
Yeah, Jason Momoa.
Is Adnan better looking than Jason Momoa?
But it made me like him more.
India hates Timothy Chalamet because he's
but
skinny.
It made me like him more though.
You're all wrong, Timothy Chalamet.
He's a bit of a weird one.
That's the best bit of the whole film.
He's a bit of a weird one. Like I don't get his look. Like is that
I don't get his look.
Is that like cool? I don't know. Ross, you've got like the long hair thing. Like
he's got a nice face.
I've got the long hair thing.
He looks like 17.
He's got a nice face though.
I think he is. He's not your kind of like Jason Momoa is just like a good-looking man. Like I don't know,
he's a good-looking man.
Tall, dark, and handsome. You know what I mean, Timothy Chalamet is a bit more of like an alternative option. You know, he's got that. But he's still got the chiseled jaw.
Yeah.
He's got. He's got the face. He's got the pout without trying. Do you know what I mean? He's like that.
He's got like mysterious eyes.
Yeah. I think that's what Timothy Chalamet.
He's got the dead eyes.
That's why he tickles people's, their fancy. Yeah.
Tickles their fancy. Yeah, their fancy.
Yeah.
Away from what he looks like, I thought it was pretty emotional when Jason Momoa like dies for the family. I thought that was pretty effective though. Like,
even though you already see it in a flashback, it's still effective.
And like the fighting was good, the hand-to-hand fighting, and then you get him dying in that way. And I thought that was all. Momoa is just good. This is Momoa's best performance, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, and I like aside from Momoa, I really like the scene where I think one of the scenes I remember the most is Oscar Isaac when his death scene when he lets off the poison.
Yeah, that's
sick because he's gonna do it, but you're just waiting, you're waiting for it to happen. And then he stares like is it Stellan Skarsgård? No, it's someone else. Yeah, he stares him in the eye and just bites it down on it, and the whole room just like passes out.
I like that as a little like invention. Because what is it? His doctor betrays him. He's the one who betrays him to save his wife. Yeah, obviously fails. But yeah, giving him the little poison thing. Yeah, that worked really nice. Didn't even talk about Oscar Isaac. In terms of the handsome rankings, Oscar Isaac's up there.
To be fair, good beard,
a great beard.
Was that the DILF?
Yeah,
DILF, yeah.
DILF vibes.
Stellan Skarsgård's fit in this film.
I didn't even realise that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
he's got girth. Slimy fucker.
Got a bit of character too.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that when he rises above the table or whatever, begins floating. Didn't realize that was gonna happen. That was a bit jarring.
It's kind of scary, but it was kind of funny as well.
Yeah,
we laughed. We were like, wow.
It is kind of funny, not gonna lie. Yeah.
He was really good in that though. Stellan Skarsgård.
They're all good. Is anyone not good? I'm trying to think.
I mean, Dave Bautista doesn't really do much.
He wasn't really given much. He does his classic Drax shouting.
Yeah, he gets that moment when he's like, "Father, you're gonna let them take everything we've built." That bit. That's what I can remember about his performance.
It's very intense. I feel like he didn't really have an off. He never got riled up and then went to 100. When he walked into the room, he was already 100.
Yeah.
He was already up there, and it doesn't help that his last major role, he swings knives around and screams at loads of people. And in this one, he swings knives around and screams a lot, So I think he's getting a bit typecast now as a guy with knives.
Yeah.
Didn't you watch Stuber, May? Did you watch that?
No, I didn't.
No. Neither did I. But I thought.
I think.
I'm guessing he does. I'm guessing he's a different character in that. I don't know. Maybe it's the same guy. I don't know.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. Was anyone bad in Dune? I don't think.
I think Javier Bardem was a little underwhelming for me.
Whoa, I thought Zendaya was bad.
She's barely in it. I feel like
exactly.
The Javier Bardem
big main character vibes, and she's not doing that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that Javier Bardem and Zendaya both a little underwhelming, but the second film they will be main characters.
Yeah,
they're going to be chef's kiss in that. I hear you.
Yeah, they'll be really good in that one.
I do think it's a bit weird because they made the whole film like, oh no, Zendaya's in this film. It's like she's in it for like a second.
Yeah.
Exactly. She had like
If you look
7
at
lines,
the-
and she must have made millions.
If you look at the cast of Dune right now on Google, Zendaya is the second name that comes up.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to do it though. She's got the Instagram demographic. Get all the people, get all her followers. She get all her followers interested in something that they wouldn't be normally interested in.
True, that's true.
Convert them into nerds. That's what you got. Well, this has been a weird alternative discussion of Dune. Wasn't what I was expecting half an hour ago, whatever it was. But that was fun. That spiced up. Cheers, Matty. You spiced up. Cheers, live in India. Spice it. Leonie as well, chiming in with her half a star on Letterboxd. Opinions. Take.
I feel like you don't think you're being a bit harsh?
No.
No, you are being. Yeah, okay. Before we finish, you got to admit you're being a bit harsh.
No.
Well,
It's only got 1 star because of the costumes. If it didn't have the costumes, it would have 0 stars.
But like everything technically.
The visual, the whole visuals, like
every single technical aspect of that film,
And the work.
directing, etc.
I need to respond. Please.
It's all really like it's some of the best you'll see. Like
It does look really nice, but no.
Haven't you seen all the praise all the directors out there have been giving it? Like Nolan is like, it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen put to screen.
Yeah, but I knew directors would do that and critics would do that. It's like an Oscar dream.
Nah, I reckon. Will it get nominated? Probably.
I don't think it will.
I don't think it'll get nominated in acting. Maybe Best Picture because there's going to be 10 nominees. I feel like there's not. I don't know.
I have some good things to say about Dune to counteract Leonie's kind of vague.
Yeah, go on, mate. Yeah.
So obviously the set design was beautiful. The filming was brilliant. The sound was excellent. The costumes as well, really well earthed, and also kind of the way they distinguish each different film to each other, not each different planet, to each other. The way that the environment shapes their way of life and how harsh each of them works really, really well. And kind of the scale of the film felt big as well. And I kind of like there was more than going on than just like kind of empires kind of battling each other. It kind of built in the idea that there were these soothsayers that kind of had their own ulterior motive and seemed to have kind of the reigning say in the galaxy. And it's almost like kind of like a steampunk thing as well, because it was all swords, but spaceships as well, but very few guns. I like the realisticness that they use.
Yeah, there's no guns in it. Guns don't exist in this world.
There's a pistol right at the end, I think.
Oh, is it?
He's like, you earn your pistol or something, but it seems like a one-shot thing or whatever it is. And I like the laser when they're cutting through the door. It just seems like a beam of light, which was what lasers actually look like, rather than like plasma lasers that you can actually see. Like it moves the speed of light, so it's just a constant gleam. So it looks realistic as well. The casting is obviously like fantastic, but I can understand why you'd be disappointed watching the film, because it kind of sets up a premise with these flashbacks and these visions. Are you all right? I can still hear you no matter how far away you are. It's doing really well there.
Carry on, mate.
That's my phone. Okay. That's one of the bits that we're not keeping. The things I didn't like about it is it set up premises with the flashbacks and the visions early on in the film that you felt would be fulfilled later on in the film. So it must feel like an almost abrupt ending. You can sit on the chair. And I feel like if you said they had addressed it with it being a 2-part kind of like franchise, people would have understood that more. But I kind of guess you can guess that anyway. Like people are calling it like the next Lord of the Rings already, so like it's obviously going to be more than one film. I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it wasn't official, but I feel like deep down they were never going to just let him do half a story, no matter what.
Yeah,
it was never. The film was never going to do that badly to where it's like, oh yeah, we really can't give him the money to do a second one. So it was, and now it's been officially announced, but it was always deep down. We all knew it was going to happen. It was just a bit weird to do part 1, not knowing part 2 was going to happen when you actually watch the film and see how incomplete it is. But yeah, it was always going to happen.
I'd hate to like have the director have this film that should be two or three kind of like films in one, and him to have to squash it all down into like a 2-hour feature film and just like ruin the story and it not make sense.
Which is what
'cause
happens with David Lynch's one, which I haven't watched.
Exactly.
But that's what they say happened.
And it happens like Mortal Engines as well. So I just kill myself and blow my brains out if that happens again. Mortal Engines, they ruin that film. Anyway, I'm done.
They're doing a prequel series as well. I think on the the Bene Gesserits. That's Rebecca Ferguson's
Right.
people. They're like the one that scene where he has to put his hand in the the pain box. That was a good scene. Yeah, those people, the Bene Gesserits. Yeah. Oh yeah, I like Dune. We talked about the issues, talked about the good stuff. Overall, still something to behold. A cinematic achievement. Excited for part 2. Gonna have to wait 2 years for it, but yeah, Ross, you got any final thoughts on Dune as we round it out?
I think I'm just expecting big things from part 2. If part 2 kind of leaves me feeling the same as part 1, then I'm going to be very, very disappointed. I think part 2 needs to be special, and probably will be. It's going to round off the story. I think, like, in future, this will just be kind of watch part 1 and part 2 as one movie. It's just because of, I feel like if Denis Villeneuve, if he could just make a 5-hour film, then he would. And that's why this one just kind of cuts off at the end. And I think that's why you leave this film feeling so underwhelmed, is because it just kind of just ends. And you're aware that you've been sitting there for about 2 hours and it's getting nowhere near the end of any kind of story. And you're just kind of waiting, like, so when's it ending? What's going to happen? And then it kind of just stops. So you're like, right, okay. And that's kind of how I walked out the cinema and how I felt when the film ended. So yeah, I'm expecting big things from part 2. And I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I know I'm going to have to wait 2 years, but hopefully it'll be worth it.
I also want to watch it in IMAX, which was filmed on my IMAX cameras, but there's no IMAX in Hull. It's a bit long. I have to travel to like Leeds or something, which is a bit long. But yeah, I feel like that might give me a whole nother appreciation for the visuals going on here. All right, that's Dune. That's the podcast. At LeonWait98 on Twitter, at Corona Cinema on Instagram, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Stitcher, Podbean. Next time, the theme is brothers in the head-to-head, and we're doing Step Brothers versus Twins. And the main review, Eternals, another MCU entry coming in hot. Chloe Zhao, just after winning Best Picture, Best Director, she's doing an MCU movie, which is both cool and also a bit sad. But yeah, until then, go well. What has happened? Why is there no sound?
It's okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sick.